Okay, this next video is for March 31st, Tuesday. It will post at midnight tonight, and this is Monday when I'm making this, but it will post at midnight and then it will be open for you. That doesn't mean you have to do it at midnight. It's just when it first opens for you, and then you have until midnight tomorrow night, Tuesday the 31st, to submit your work. What I first wanted to do though is answer the ones from yesterday. I did go through and grade, or basically I went through and I'm going to check and see that you do your notes and do the problems, and then I give you that assignment and that grade point for that. But then I want to go through and answer and make sure you got them right. So always keep your notes and your questions each day, and then the following day I can go through, or however many days it is before we do the next one, I will go through and answer those so that you have the correct answers that you can study off of and look off of. But I did one that was 2 plus 7, so obviously that's 9. Negative 3 plus 8 comes out to 5. Okay, so if you're on that number line, you start at negative 3 and go positive 8, you get to 5. 6 minus 4 was 2. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. You start at negative 3 and you go 4 down the negative way, and so that's negative 7. And then 8 minus 9 should have been negative 1. You started at 8, went down 9, and you're at negative 1. So those are the answers to the ones that I had you do yesterday. That way you can look through there and check your answers, correct the ones that you need to. I give you full point when you're going through and doing them and trying them. That's kind of how we're just going to have to do this going forward, so that you can kind of grade your own, look through that way, because I'm not taking physical copies to grade and hand back to you. This is how we can check your answers. Today, what I want to look at is still building on this, negative numbers, and we basically get to where the numbers get so big you can't use a number line anymore. When numbers get to a certain point, you can't use a number line that long. Like if you have 362 minus 576, you don't want to make a number line that's that long, 362 and 576 the other way. So there's processes that we use, and there's techniques. Now, this is one of the more challenging things of pre-algebra, is working with positive and negative numbers, and it's also something you use as you go on in math. So you want to get a good grasp of it, and there's a two-step process that I use to do this. There's lots of videos, though, that you can keep looking at different ways. There's no one set way to do negative numbers. Some have funny little ways that they have tricks, and there's all different things that people use to do that. And so there's not one specific way I'm gonna make you do these, but there's a two-step process that I use to do that. But first off, I want to look at problems that we're referring to. Let's say I have 20 minus 80. Okay, 20 minus 80. Now, if we had to make a number line that long, that'd be a really long number line. You'd have to go 20, you'd have to go so far this way within 80. So we're not going to make number lines to do problems this big. But think about it in terms of, just thinking about, what it means and what the answer should come out to close to. Basically, it'd be like having $20 in your bank account, and you have 20 sitting there, but you wrote a check for 80. You're going to go in the hole. You're going to end up owing money. And so, we have to remember what that looks like. Now, 20 plus 80 we know is 100. But that's not the direction we're going in. So this actually ends up being, you're in the hole, but you had some positive to start out with. And this one you may have already done in your head, you may have got it right, where that's negative 60. You go 60 in the hole. But then you're going to run into problems that aren't able to do in your head, like 76 minus 247. And you got to think, well, how did you do that? How would you figure out? Now this one we were able to maybe do in our head 20 minus 80 and know that we were at negative 60, but this one kind of is a little bit harder. And so we will learn as we go on what we do with a problem like this. So if you're trying this one at home and you want to know what it came out to. Now I'm not going to teach this yet, this way I'm doing it, but because it's a two-step process. But basically I'm going to go like this. Okay, and I get 171, and it's actually a negative 171 because we went in the hole. We had 76 positive dollars, but we went in the hole, and that's how much we're in the hole now. So we're going to learn this process of what you do to solve problems like this, because there's going to be all different ones too that look different, and you're going to have to kind of determine which one it is and what it looks like. Another one that you may have is it may start out negative and go positive. Okay, and so you were already in the hole $30, but maybe you deposited $50 and you want to know how much money you have in the bank now. Well, this we can do in our head maybe, and we know we have $20 positive. Okay, you were 30 in the hole, you put 50 in, that means you're 20 positive. But once again, we're going to run into problems that maybe you can't do in your head, like negative 89, and you put in 812. Okay, so in that part, then once again, we're going to go back to where we're going to learn this, but I'm just giving you examples of where we're going to use this in, what kind of problems we're going to face that we're going to have to use this two-step process I'm going to teach you. But basically, we can go like this, do it real quick. And so it's going to be a positive 723. You were in the hole, but you went forward this much, so now you're at positive 723. So basically, we're going to learn how to do all these, but there's just different kinds of problems. You could start positive and go bigger negative. You could start negative and go bigger positive. It's just all different problems you're going to see. And so we're going to look at how we do that math and how we know we're coming out correctly. The first step of this two-step process is, so I'm going to put first step, and we're only going to cover the first step today. So leave room when you're done at this, because we'll go through the second step. The second step's harder, and it's more things you have to do. But this first step is basically the first thing you're going to do on any problem. And some of the problems we face, you can skip the first step, meaning there's nothing to do on the first step. But what this first step is, we are going to look for double signs. I'm going to explain what double signs are. We're going to look for double signs. Okay, I'm actually going to brighten this up a little bit in here. That may help a little bit. Look for double signs, and then get rid of those double signs, or eliminate them. Get rid of the double signs. And I know that sounds like two steps, but it's the same step. You're just looking where the double signs are, and when you see them, you're going to get rid of them. Okay? So we need to talk, well, what is a double sign? Okay, it's not a, well, I was going to think of some joke, but it's hard when you're on video to do that. But anyway, you're looking for signs that are by each other, that there's two of them. Okay, it's going to be a double sign. So some of those may look like this. Let me erase this so I've got more room. It's not like a McDonald's sign by a Burger King sign. There's a delayed joke. 8 plus negative 3, or negative 2 plus negative 8, or negative 3 minus positive 7, or 8 minus negative 2, or negative 7 minus negative 3. Okay, here's all, these look all different. And you're going to see problems all like this to start out with, okay? So you're going to see problems that basically, can look all different kinds of ways. I'm going to make sure real quick that the light's not putting a glare on there for you, okay? Yep, that looks better. So basically, we're looking through here. Now, what a double sign is when you have a positive and negative sign, or a negative and negative sign. Like, basically, each one of these are a sign, and they're right next to each other. There's no number in between them. There's no, there's nothing else like a division or something. It is just a positive and then a negative, or a negative and negative. And even this one, this is a double sign because you got a negative and a negative, and there's no number in between them, okay? It's okay to have the parentheses. All the parentheses does is to make sure that this doesn't look like one long minus sign. See, it doesn't look like one long minus sign. It kind of sections it off. But you could see it either way, and I wanted to put both examples up there. So this is a double sign because it's a sign right by another one. Now I want to point out that this one actually has 3 signs in it, but this is the only double sign. This does not have another sign with it. Okay, it's just the negative, and then you have a number. This is 2 signs and then the number. Okay, so these are what we call the double signs, right in here, right in between there. And what we have to do is we have to identify them first. We have to look and say, okay, there they are, I see them, and then we're going to get rid of them. And it kind of, that's, as long as we're remembering to do that and kind of forgetting about, for a little bit when we're doing the math, to forget about, well, that doesn't quite make sense. You will, with these numbers, you will start to confuse yourself if you're always trying to just treat each one different and look through. If you follow the two-step process and just do it every time, I promise you they come out correctly. But basically, this one, if we think about it, let's say we have $8 in the bank. I'll do a bank example again. And you're going to add in a debt. You're going to add in a debt. And you're going to make that then come out of your money. So it's like having $8, but then you add in a $3 deposit. So you're adding in a money being taken away. And when that happens, that means you have money coming out of your account. So if I had $8 and I took away 3, I would have 5. And so we got to look at this and say, well, 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay, but like I said, if you sit and try to figure them all out, it does become hard. But I wanted to point that first one out and say, we're adding in a debt, so we're actually just subtracting 8 minus 3. That's what you do when you eliminate double signs, is you're going to make this into just one sign. Okay, you're just going to turn it into one sign. And the rule for that, so as we go through and look for the double signs and take them away, is if they're one apiece, meaning you have a plus and a minus, no matter what order they're in, so a plus minus or a minus plus, if they're one of each, then you're going to turn the whole thing into a negative. Okay, just one negative. So this example, plus minus, it's because they're one of each, not one of the same. They're one's a positive, one's a negative. You're just going to turn this into a 8 minus 3. You're going to turn this double sign into one subtraction sign. So this one becomes 8 minus 3. Okay. This one, okay, you're not changing this sign. This is not the double sign. So this stays negative 2, but then plus minus becomes negative 8. Okay. So this is going to look like negative 2 plus minus becomes negative 2 minus 8, or negative 2, negative 8. Okay. So here's this one. That would be like your $2 in the hole, and you're going to add in more debt. You're going to add in more 8, so you're going to go further down. So if you were on the number line still for this one, you were 2 in the hole, and you went 8 further, so now you're going to end up 10 in the hole. Okay, and we'll do that later, but just so you see, all we're doing right now is eliminating the double sign. Same thing right here. Okay, this one right here, we're going to keep it negative 3. And then minus plus, doesn't matter that they're switched, they're one apiece, so it's going to become a minus 7. Okay, so this one became 8 minus 3, this one became negative 2 minus 8, this one became negative 3 minus 7. Okay, so that's where we are with that, is these become one sign. Now that's where we're going to stop today, as far as we're going to keep doing these, but we're not going to go and actually do the math yet. We'll do that second step tomorrow. But basically, we are just going through identifying the double signs and changing them. So let's do this one. Now this one's different because it is no longer a positive and a minus. It's 2 of the same sign. So that means when you have 2 of the same sign, meaning maybe they're both plus, okay, that would be like 8 plus a positive 4. Okay, you have $8, you're going to add in 4 more dollars. Okay, we would know that as 8 plus 4. But if you have a plus plus, okay, or you have this minus minus, like these, then the whole thing is just going to become one positive. Okay, it's just going to become a single positive. Now that's not dealing with this, that's dealing with the 2 double signs. So this one, instead of 8 minus negative 2, it's going to become 8 plus 2. Okay, so this one becomes 8 plus 2, because your minus minus becomes a plus. And then this one, you're not changing this. This is not a double sign. This one is. This is, instead of minus minus, is going to become plus 3. Okay, minus minus becomes plus 3. Now later we'll finish these problems, but or different ones even. Well, we could remember these, or even from our notes, we'll go through and do these again. But Basically, these right here, we're just changing the double signs. That's all we're going to do for today, is just go through, identify where the double signs are, and change them. What that does then is when we go to our second step, we're going to do either the number line or we're going to do the second step so that we can find out what it is. And like this one, 8 minus a negative 2, when you're thinking about money, you're taking away a debt, so you're actually adding in money. Or like I said, the example of 8 plus positive 4. Instead of having a plus plus, which looks kind of funny, it's like $8 and you're adding in positive $4, so you actually become $12, okay? And so that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow, but the first thing is just going through and eliminating those double signs, okay? So just to recap, and then I'm going to give you your problems that I want you to do that are just like these. I mixed them up though. I switched the order a little bit so that you kind of get used to just seeing all the different ways they can look. But all you're doing is, instead of writing plus minus and finding it, identifying it, and saying one of each becomes a single subtraction sign. And then you're just going to leave it like that for now. We know that comes out to 5, but you're going to leave it like that. And then this one, this stayed a negative 2. That's not a double sign. But plus minus becomes just a minus. Same thing, a minus plus becomes just a minus. The minus minus becomes a plus. The minus minus becomes a plus, okay? All right, let me put the ones up there that I'm going to have you do. And I want you to just identify where the double signs are and change them to a single sign, okay? So, number 1 is 12 plus negative 9. Number 2 is negative 3 minus negative 4. Number 3, now all you're doing is just going through it and changing the double signs. So negative 17 plus negative 12. Number 4 is 15 minus negative 14. Okay. And negative 15 minus positive 8. Okay. So you're going to go through and change the double signs and then leave the numbers there, and we'll keep going tomorrow. But I just want to check and make sure we can identify where the double signs are and change the ones that we're supposed to change. Okay? All right?